And then there's the committee of the Sunshine Sanctuary, said Lady Ramkin from her side of the dining table. We must get you on that, and the Country Landowners Association, and the Friendly Flamethrowers League. Cheer up. You'll find your time will just fill up like nobody's business. Yes, dear, said Vimes. The days stretched ahead of him, just filling up like nobody's business, with committees and good works and nobody's business. It was probably better than walking the streets. Lady Sybil and Mr. Vimes. He sighed. Sybil Vimes, nee Ramkin, looked at him with an expression of faint concern. For as long as she'd known him, Sam Vimes had been vibrating with the internal anger of a man who wants to arrest the gods for not doing it right. And then he'd handed in his badge, and he was, well, not exactly Sam Vimes anymore. The clock in the corner chimed 8 o'clock. Vimes pulled out his presentation watch and opened it. That clock's 5 minutes fast, he said, above the tinkling chimes. He snapped the lid shut and read again the words on it. A watch from your old friends in the watch. Carrot had been behind that, sure enough. Vimes had grown to recognize that blindness to the position of I's and E's, and that wanton cruelty to the common comma. They said goodbye to you. They took you out of the measure of your days, and they gave you a watch. Excuse me, milady. Yes, Willikins? There is a watchman at the door, milady. The tradesman's entrance. You sent a watchman to the tradesman's entrance? Said Lady Sybil. No, milady. That's the one he came to. It's Captain Carrot. Vimes put a hand over his eyes. He's been made captain and he comes to the back door, he said. That's Carrot, that is. Bring him on in. It was barely noticeable except to Vimes, but the butler glanced at Lady Ramkin for her approval. Do as your master says, she said gallantly. I'm no man's mess, Vimes began. Now, Sam, said Lady Ramkin. Well, I'm not, said Vimes sullenly. Carrot marched in and stood to attention. As usual, the room suddenly became a mere background to him. It's all right, lad, said Vimes, as nicely as he could manage. You don't need to salute. Yes, I do, sir, said Carrot. He handed Vimes an envelope. It had the seal of the patrician on it. Vimes picked up a knife and broke the seal. Probably charging me $5 for unnecessary wear and tear on my chainmail, he said. His lips moved as he read. Blimey, he said eventually. 56? Yes, sir. Detritus is looking forward to breaking them in. Including undead. It says here open to all, regardless of species or mortal status. Yes, sir, said Carrot firmly. They're all citizens. You mean you could have vampires in the watch? Very good on night duty, sir. And aerial surveillance. And always useful if you want to stake out somewhere. Yes, sir? Vimes watched the feeble pun go right through Carrot's head without triggering his brain. He turned back to the paper. Pensions for widows, I see. Yes, sir. Reopening the old watchhouses? That's what he says, sir. Vimes read on. We consider particularly that this enlarged watch will need an experienced man in charge who is held in esteem by all parts of society, and we are convinced that you should fulfill this role. You will therefore take up your duties immediately as Commander of the Ankh-Morpork City Watch. This post, traditionally, carries with it the rank of knight, which we are minded to resurrect on this one occasion. Hoping this finds you in good health, yours faithfully, Havelock Vetinari, Patrician. Vimes read it again. He drummed his fingers on the table. There was no doubt that the signature was genuine, but... Corporal... Captain Carrot? Sir! Carrot stared straight ahead of him with a glistening air of one busting with duty and efficiency and an absolute resolve to duck and dodge any direct questions put to him. Vimes picked up the paper again, put it down, picked it up, and then passed it over to Sybil. My word, she said. A knighthood? Not a moment too soon, either.
Oh no, not me. You know what I think about the so-called aristocrats in this city. Yeah, apart from you, Sybil, of course.
Perhaps it's about time the general stock was improved, then, said Lady Ramkin. His lordship did say, said Carrot, that no part of the package was negotiable, sir. I mean, it's all or nothing, if you understand me.
All?
Yes, sir.
Or nothing?
Yes, sir. Vimes drummed his fingers on the table.
You've won, haven't you? He said. You've won.
Sir? Don't understand, sir, said Carrot, radiating honest ignorance. There was another dangerous silence.
But of course, said Vimes, there's no possible way I could oversee this sort. But of course, said Vimes, there's no possible way I could oversee this sort of thing.
What do you mean, sir? Said Carrot. Vimes pulled the candelabra towards him and thumped the paper with a finger.
Well, look what it says here. I mean, opening those old watchhouses? On the gates? What's the point in that? Right out there on the edge?
Oh, I'm sure matters of organization detail can be changed, sir, said Carrot.
Keep a general gate guard, yes, but if you're going to have any kind of finger on the pulse of... Look, you'd need one along Elm Street somewhere, close to the Shades and the Docks, and another one halfway up Short Street, and maybe a smaller one in Kingsway. Yeah, somewhere up there anyway. You've got to think about population centers. How many men based per watchhouse?
I thought 10, sir, allowing for shifts.
No, can't do that. Use 6 at the most. A corporal, say, and one other per shift. The rest you'll move around on, monthly rota. You want to keep everyone on their toes, yes? And that way, everyone gets to walk every street. That's very important. And I wish I had a map here. Oh, thank you, dear. Right. Now, see here. You've got a strength of 56 nominal, okay? But you're taking over day watch, too. Plus, you've got to allow for days off. 2 grandmother's funerals per year per man. Gods know how your undead'll sort out that one. Maybe they get time off to go to their own funerals. And then there's sickness and so on, so we want 4 shifts staggered around the city. Got a light? Thanks. We don't want the whole guard changing shift at once. On the other hand, we've got to allow each watchhouse officer a certain amount of initiative. But we should maintain a special squad in Pseudopolis Yard for emergencies. Look, give me that pencil. Now give me that notebook. Right.
Cigar smoke filled the room. The little presentation watch played every quarter of an hour, entirely unheeded. Lady Sybil smiled, and shut the door behind her, and went to feed the dragons. Dearest Mum and Dad, well, here is amazing news for I am now Captain. It has been a very busy and varied week all round, as I shall now recount. And only one thing more. There was a large house in one of the nicer areas of Ankh, with a spacious garden with a children's treehouse in it, and, quite probably, a warm spot by the fire. And a window. Breaking. Gaspode landed on the lawn and ran like hell towards the fence. Flower-scented bubbles streamed off his coat. He was wearing a ribbon with a bow on it, and carrying in his mouth a bowl labeled Mr. Huggy. He dug his way frantically under the fence and squirmed into the road. A fresh pile of horse droppings took care of the floral scent, and 5 minutes of scratching removed the bow.
Not a bloody flea left,
he moaned, dropping the bowl.
And I had nearly the complete set. Whee-ew! I'm well out of that. Huh.
Gaspode brightened up. It was Tuesday. That meant steak and suspicious organs pie at the Thieves' Guild. And the head cook there was known to be susceptible to a thumping tail and a penetrating stare. And holding an empty bowl in your mouth and looking pathetic was a surefire winner, if Gaspode was any judge. It shouldn't take too long to claw off Mr. Huggy. Perhaps this wasn't the way it ought to be, but it was the way it was. On the whole, he reflected, it could have been a lot worse. The end.